And we're back with some NBA observations. It's me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this. I truly appreciate it. Make sure if you are watching this for the first time or have not yet done so, please like and subscribe. Make sure you get that, of course, that notification. You hit that bell down below me, and also Legend, to go ahead and hit that bell so you can be notified when the latest NBA observations, Lakers Fast Break, Laker Holic Spotlight, or whatever we go ahead and put on this channel is brought to you right there for your enjoyment. And also, if you become a member for just $2.99 a month, you'll get all my stuff that I put out there, whether it's Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. You get all that stuff a little bit ahead of time for most viewers out there. So go ahead and also get some fancy stuff as far as for your chat if you want to, if you're a big time chatter as well, when we do our live shows. So go ahead and make sure you do that as well. Well, the man is here. The man is back. Truly great to have him here. It is always a great pleasure to have him back. It is the legend, of course, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. Legend, great to have you here. We're more on an easygoing schedule because we don't have those games that we have to be at or after or everything like that. You don't have to talk to me or listen to Joe rant at 2 o'clock your time in the morning anymore for at least a little while. I'm just glad to have you here, my friend, so we could talk some NBA hoops.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, Gerald. It's good to talk some NBA hoops. Off season is pretty much here for a lot of our favorite teams at this point, and it's already getting spicy out here.
It is. It is. Of course, we've seen one firing this week with Daryl Morey being let go as the president of basketball operations. It's so funny, though. Bob Myers is leading the search for a new president of basketball operations. Guys won 4 championships as a basketball of operations. Kind of would think, yeah, kind of would think you would want him as the president of your basketball operations. You kind of think you would, if he's taken the time to work for you to do such a thing, you might want to throw the cash at him to go ahead and do so. The other weird thing was that, of course, this is the new trend these days. They fire the GM, but you got to keep the coach. So the president of basketball operations doesn't really have full control of the basketball operations when they get hired. How much sense does that make? Now, I'm not saying Nick Nurse did a bad job or anything like that. I'm just saying that the fact that you can, as the president of basketball operations, hire your own coach or decide, you know what, I will keep the coach I have, kind of makes it weird to be a president of basketball operations.
Yeah, it definitely makes it weird. There's a weird things going on with Philadelphia, but I understand what they're thinking. 6 years, ain't really won nothing. Been really kind of almost like a disaster, like, and I get that they want some change. Look, if you can get Bob Myers, look, write the check and be like, how many zeros do you need me to put behind it? And this, here you go, because he won us 4 championships. You're getting a good guy. I wish he was in Golden State right now because it's been a disaster since he left. But they need to go on and write that check and get him ASAP. But my thing is, I guess they gave up on the process now. The process is dead. It's over.
Well, I know one of the things that you talked about when you talk about Philadelphia is the status of Joel Embiid going forward. I don't think anybody is going to trade for him. I really don't, because his health issues. Yeah, you just don't know whether he's going to be there one game to the next. So, very interesting. Again, you're president of basketball operations, but you're not in charge of all basketball operations because you can't decide whether or not you want to keep or fire Nick Nurse, which is just, again, to me, just as crazy. But speaking of president of basketball operations, both the one of your scorn and disdain, Mike Dunleavy Jr., and Rob Pelinka were seen by and showcased on ESPN at the Chicago Draft Combine. I see them both there right now when I go ahead and hover over it on my YouTube algorithm. Earlier this week, I know that both had, well, actually, yours earlier this month, but mine earlier this week, as far as Rob Pelinka, had some conversations. He had his exit closing interview of the season along with JJ Redick, and in that he stated the desire to bring back Austin Reeves, the desire to bring back LeBron James if they should so choose to, and all that, and said all the nice things about trying to build. But seemingly the contradiction started with JJ saying he wanted to build a much deeper, more talented team, and then Rob saying more of, okay, if many of the guys that were interested, that played for us, were interested in having them come back. It's kind of an oxymoron because the team that you have now is nowhere near close to beating SGA and OKC or Wemby in San Antonio. And I'm not expecting any team that anyone builds. You and I will have a show here probably sometime in June where we're going to go live and build our own teams on the air. If you are out there and you have a team that's not named the Lakers, the Hawks, or the Warriors, and you wanted to be part of that, hit me up, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com, and you can make the trades or moves or draft choices you feel to build your full roster out there. And we'll see what kind of fun we have with that there. But in doing so, my friend, he is saying all these politically correct things, but we've heard this hogwash before from Rob Pelinka, and I'm just tired of it.
Right.
I've been done for years with him. With even with 15, 25, 30 vice presidents hovering around him now, and however many are there at El Segundo, it doesn't matter. He is still the president of basketball operations, and you cannot tell me, I know with Joe, he loves to fantasize that other people are making the decisions for him. And I know with some, I've been also suggested by audience members that he's just a puppet there at this point going forward. He is still the president of basketball operations. You cannot tell me he does not have day-to-day authority as far as the personnel is concerned. Why are you paying him then if that's the case? I know I heard the word figurehead. He's not a figurehead. He is going there and he's still ultimately making the decisions. You don't go to Chicago Draft Combine if you're just a figurehead. So with that, my friend, Rob Pelinka, and all apologies to Stefan Piscano, who is absolutely still a Rob Pelinka fanonite, for lack of a better term. Just like, Rob Pelinka's the greatest thing, blah, 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 blah. He is not. Rob Pelinka stinks. He's a mediocre GM in a NBA world, which you need to be a good GM or a great GM at. And that's the problem. You cannot have so many highs and lows like Rob Pelinka and continue to get away with it to build an elite team here in the NBA. Your thoughts, my friend, on Rob Pelinka, Mike Dunleavy Jr., these general managers like Masai Ujiri, they'll always find a place to go out. If Rob Pelinka gets fired tomorrow, which I hope he does, he'll find another GM job if he
Mhm.
wants to in the league because he's the guy that orchestrated the Luka trade. They forget all the bad stuff, but he's the guy that orchestrated the Luka trade. We've seen with Masai Ujiri, he's the guy that orchestrated the Kawhi trade. Doesn't matter if he had all these, responsible deals, irresponsible deals for Toronto that they still are stuck with today. He's the guy that constructed the Kawhi deal. He'll help us out in Dallas. I understand that him and Rob will always have a place to find in this industry, but I just think it's time. I think it's time. You have a better way of cap space. You have some assets that you can move. It's just the time now to find a different voice and a different vision to change the Lakers to at least to become more comparable, more complete, competitive, and a team that's not just going to completely bow out in 4 games against OKC.
First thing I'm gonna say is Dallas. I'm gonna pray for you because he living off that Kawhi and that championship big time
Well,
right
it's up
now.
and downs. It's ups and downs on
Getting
the
up and
side.
down.
It's up and downs with Rob Pelinka.
Mhm.
That's the problem. You cannot be inconsistent as a GM in the league. You have to hit on what 7 of 8, 6 of 8, 7 of 9. You have to hit on almost every one of your transactions, one of your player evaluations, your draft choices, you have to hit on so many of those to build those
Right.
kinds of teams, and that's the problem. They cannot do that. They are not capable of doing that, and you've given them years to do that. And the Ujiris and the Robs, they hit on once in a while, and then periods of
I
not
mean,
so
that's and
hits
that's what
once
you've
in a while.
seen a lot from Rob Pelinka. Like I said, I know some people really do like him and all that, but I've been around with you guys for about almost a couple years at this point now, and I've seen the highs and lows of him, and it's been rough. I mean, you don't got rid of a lot of coaches, and I think I've really got the mindset of I don't think it's really a lot of the. Don't get me wrong, Darvin Ham wasn't that great either. I think it's more of the roster just wasn't right, and he don't have a lot of misses. I mean, the big misses to me the most is the Russell Westbrook. Look at all them draft picks you had. Only one of them actually really became something, and he right now in Dallas. Dallas balling right now. He's doing pretty straight now in Dallas, but the rest of them, Hood, THT, I don't know where they at no more. I mean, them dudes is just gone. That's on his watch. You drafted him. That's on his watch. And then the other part too is to me is you really didn't try to put a good decent team together around Luka this past off season. Now to me, this off season, if you don't do it, put the pitchforks at this point because all that money ain't no excuses. There's no excuses at this point. And Rob is this, he had a lot of misses. Now he don't have some moments. I give you credit. You got I don't know if I can give you Anthony Davis credit. That's more clutching LeBron on that part. But fine, I give him that credit for that. The Luca part, I guess I'll give you credit on that too, even though that was Nico's stupidity on that part. But give you credit, you managed to take advantage of that situation. But you don't have a lot of misses though, and that's one of the biggest things I think the Lakers have to eventually address. Me personally, Gerald, and Golden State, I want that dude out. I've been saying that for the longest. Get rid of Mike. I'm tired of him, man. You got no rim protector still no real center. The team has been complete dumpster fire since Bob Myers left. Like it ain't been going nowhere, and it looked like it's gonna be the same next season. So I want him gone. And I want Mike gone. But with Rob Pelinka, it's just I understand a lot of people's frustration with him because it's like, what are you doing at this point? And it's hard for me to really even say, could I trust him to get it right? Like, what you gonna do in this draft? Are you gonna really get it right, or you gonna screw it up? Or you gonna go draft another dude who may not even get no playing time, while somebody like OKC or something gonna draft somebody at 12th and probably getting some good minutes in this upcoming season. And that's something you need to see a different from Rob Pelinka. But to me, I think this is Rob Pelinka's last chance, in my personal opinion. Should be his last chance. Should be no more chances after this offseason because you got a lot of cap space. Ain't no reason you can't go out here and go get a decent bid, find maybe at least one or two 3D wings, and start putting a decent roster around Luka. Now, how you do with that LeBron and Austin Reaves situation? Yeah, good luck on that part. I'm not sure what's gonna happen with that. But the rest of the roster, you should be able to correctly put that together. But Rob don't have a lot of misses, a lot of stains. But that Russell Westbrook one, that's the worst thing, because that affected the team 22, 23, 23, 24. Like, it's like 2 years went down the drain because of that. So, I mean, he got a lot of nasty stuff on his resume. That Lucas situation might could have been a bailout that might have saved the job a little bit longer.
So funny because I know you see in the chat it during the Oklahoma City series about how many people were mad at Alex Caruso. Oh, I really don't like Alex Caruso.
It ain't his fault he over there.
He was part of the Lakers. He
He was
helped win
part of
them
it.
the championship in 2020. He wanted to stay a Laker. Guess what happened? Financially, they chose THT
Mm-mm.
over Alex Caruso. Rob Pelinka chose THT over Alex Caruso. It's so funny because last night I was having going to a birthday dinner at Nora's here in Las Vegas. I've never been there. Really great place. Everybody want to check out a good place in Vegas, Nora's. I go there, we're having dinner, and my brother-in-law, he's talking, and both my brother-in-laws, they're talking to me about the Lakers, of course, and that dominates the conversation. The entire table is the demise of the Los Angeles Lakers, and they know what I do, so they go ahead and they start talking about it, and the conversation leads to Alex Caruso, and I say, you know what, it's don't blame him that he's happier in OKC. Don't blame him that he enjoys his time with OKC more than he does with LA. Don't blame him that he enjoyed the OKC championship over the bubble championship in LA because of what was going on in the world at that time. You cannot, and don't blame him if he has hard feelings over what happened in Los Angeles because they discarded him for THT. And my one of my brother-in-laws, he asked me, "What happened to THT? Yeah, I haven't heard from him in a little while. Where's he playing? Or which team is he playing for?" He's playing in Europe or China at this point in
Yeah,
time.
they sent
That's
him
what I said.
overseas.
And I'm like, that's the legacy of Rob Pelinka right there in a nutshell. Bad move after bad move, but he'll be at that blackjack table. He'll be at that blackjack table. He'll lose like time and time and time again, and then hit a blackjack. And then he'll lose time and time and time and time again. He is again a gambler, a big time gambler, because he gets the lucky hand and then proceeds not to do anything with it. You get a guy like Luka, and last summer I was begging him to make a major move to bring in guys like Trey Murphy Jr., Trey Murphy the third, Herb Jones to center around him. No, he doesn't. He goes cheap, gets Jake LaRavia, who was nothing after the calendar year turned 2026. And if you guys want to go ahead and call me out on that, I'll come right back at you and say, after the calendar year turned to 2026, he became nothing. Yes, he played all the games. That didn't mean anything. He was nothing. He didn't play in the final two games of the Lakers series. He didn't play in game three because he was that bad. He was that bad. He played worse in the second half of the season, worse than he did as the first 2 years as a disappointing rookie in Memphis. And that will tell you all you need to know about that move. And then he goes cheap again with DeAndre Ayton. The DeAndre Ayton experience is a ride I wanted to not really go on, but we went on up and down where it was good one day, bad next 2 days. Good one day, bad next 2 days. And then Marcus Smart at $5 million. Again, it cost us Jordan Goodwin. I get that. I understand that. You should have found out another way to keep Jordan Goodwin on this team, Rob. Again, another faux pas on his part,
Yep.
his part. But Marcus Smart, for all the ups and downs we went with him, he was a good pickup and he gave you something and he's going to go out and get more money. Of the three individuals, he had probably the best season of all three, but you should have still done more to build around Luka. He is in his prime now. Now he's not in his prime, going to be in his prime 6 years from now, 5 years from now, maybe even 4 years from now. Hopefully he'll be in his prime still when he's in his 31, 32, 33 years. But I don't know with his health, the way his health seems to deteriorate before our very eyes for quite a bit with his hamstring issues, and then the fact that he's been periodically out of shape. He finally got in shape, but then he got hurt his hamstring. So I don't know how long Luka's prime will be. No one knows how long Luka's prime will be. So you plan and you try to go ahead and win now if you believe he's the player that's going to take you back to the promised land. And they just don't seem like it. The messages are all wrong when it came from this guy. And the messages that came out from earlier this week about, well, we're gonna, LeBron can do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
We're
LeBron
happy to bring
talk.
him back. Yeah, or Austin Reaves, we've told him how happy we would love to have him back, and told his representatives. These are things that maybe you should look deeper into, as far as whether or not you should be doing it. Because if you're bringing the gang back together, the gang back together brought you nothing but a sweep at the hands of OKC. And I don't see them competing against OKC with the current collective that they have now. Now, conversely, before I can bring it back to you, my friend, again, it will be very hard and difficult for a team to be constructed by anyone to go ahead and be competitive against OKC and San Antonio next season, barring an injury from SGA or Wemby. But I still think you could put pieces in place with a new vision and a new look that could get this team in a direction where ultimately it can surpass those two teams. But right now, it just doesn't look like it because the guy behind the wheel is just not capable of driving you to that title.
And then the thing too, Gerald, is I was telling one of my friends in my job, I said she's a Laker fan, and what I was telling her was Rob Pelinka got to realize is okay, Oklahoma might win this year, might be go back to back. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. Wemby's coming. And he looked like he's about here already. He's not that far off. It's now or never to start trying to win something. And to me, I feel like next year is this is got to be the season you got to try. And if you fail next season, I like you said, Gerald, I don't know how long Luka got. You know, the injuries are already starting to happen a little bit now. So I don't know exactly how long, Luka Prime will last. So you gotta capitalize while it's happening before, health and stuff start happening. So he can't keep wasting time and wasting years. Can't keep doing it. At this point, 25 playoff run, I'll exclude that. Luka just got there. This one, injuries happen. Not much you can do about that either. But the clock is ticking. You're gonna have to figure it out at some point. But personally, I don't think you can run this team back either. Not the same, people on the bench. You've got to improve that bench. It's like I tried to tell another Laker fan today. One of my kids, he's a big Laker fan, but even he admitted it. He was like, Mr. Randolph, you're right. We need some depth. You right. Like I told him, that's what you need. You don't need another star. I know some people kept saying, let's get Giannis. I'm like, you don't really need Giannis. You need depth. You get the depth, that solve a lot of issues already. If you go get you some good guys who can come off the bench and give you at least 15, 20 points as a group, you're doing pretty good at that point. Because it ain't no way you should let your bench be getting beat so bad to where the other team like Oklahoma, I know that's championship team and all that, but you can't let the other team just go about double the same amount of points as you. That's pitiful at that point. That's a disaster. He has to go out and get some better bench players. And then at the same time, you have to figure out what you're gonna do about your big three. You can't keep being top heavy and both your two top players they don't play defense. LeBron's up in the age, so I don't know what you want to do about that part. But you can't be relying on a 42-year-old to come out here and bear you out too, though. So he gonna have to learn how to figure out something to put a decent bench together. Jalen Ravy, I don't know what happened to him that second half of the season. He started off all right, and then he just dived down, turned into a disaster. So I mean, a lot of them dudes on that bench you can't bring back. The only people I know for a fact I would say bring back as of right now, you bring back Rui. You probably bring back Marcus Smart. After that, I would think about it at that point. I would think about it. Rui don't definitely earn him big money for what he did. Hopefully he won't get the big contract and just do what some people be doing when they get big contracts.
Well, that's the problem because during the course we all forget during the course of the season he had played his way off the starting rotation
Yep.
and played himself onto the bench, which it shows that he was not having the greatest of seasons. But he is one of the best. Well, he is the best 3-point shooter from in playoffs in history. So for that fact alone, he might be someone that is wanted on free agency. So I have a feeling just because of that fact alone, he might be pursued by other teams to the point where the Lakers just can't afford to keep him.
That is a very possibility, and I thought about that too. His high percentage shooting might have just made him too hard to bring back at this point. He might have cashed himself out of the Lakers' limits. So it is a possibility of that happening because he was shooting a crazy clip. Like, I mean, Gerald, this dude was so much on fire. You just be like, bro, do you ever miss? Like, this NBA 2K with the slides is up. Like, that's just how much he was knocking down these jumpers. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of teams be coming out there, especially a lot of playoff teams who may need shooting. Like, I can name a team right now that should be knocking at Ruiz, though. Orlando, you need some scoring. Just saying, you need some scoring.
I actually say that they should be up in front for Austin Reaves, quite
I
personally.
agree.
And that's another thing, that's one of the things that the Lakers have to worry about this offseason, obviously, is the status of Austin Reaves. And I know that Rob Pelinka earlier this week indicated their willingness to talk to the representatives of Austin Reaves about how much they wanted it back. And I know Luca, because he's his soulmate, his bromate, Austin Reaves. Got to keep those two together and all that. He's saying how much he wanted him to stay on the team. But the problem is they don't play defense. If you
Right.
have a Luka Austin backcourt in the playoffs, compare that to SGA and J Dub. Compare that
Killed
to the two kids in San Antonio, Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle. Forget De'Aaron Fox aside. Let's match up those backcourts. Which of those backcourts has a glaring weakness on hand, Legend?
Yeah, I got to go with the Luca and Austin Reed just because of the. I know both them two dudes are just not great defensive players, and I know they both can get easily picked on by the right team. Full example, AJ Mitchell was out here cooking Austin Reeves. It's out there. He was getting cooked. He was getting cooked. That man was out here dropping 20 plus on you, and they literally made the plan to get him every single time, make him switch. Got what I want. Let's go.
It's funny because my mom, 92-year-old mom, she's like, oh, because her Austin Reeves is her favorite player. Oh, I bet they better hope to keep Austin Reeves. He did so well in those two games in the playoffs. I'm like, Mom, did you not see on the other end how many points he gave up on the other end? Did you remember the 8 turnovers? He got to 27 points, but the 8 turnovers and the fact that SGA literally put him on fire with all the times he roasted and drove on by him. Uh, it's a fact that he is just not going to give you what you need when it matters the most. It was very abundantly clear that he cannot be able to do that. And it is not in the best interest unless you use him as trade fodder to sign him to that long-term contract. Now, I heard some people suggesting that maybe we should keep him for a season and see how it goes from there. That's just another year you wasted
Another year you wasted.
of Luca's potential. Again, maybe they won't be able to build a team that's going to be good enough to compete, but still, it just seems like going with the status quo is not the way to go for the Los Angeles Lakers.
I totally agree. I feel like you gotta at some point gotta make a tough decision. And I know in reports, I know some reports out there that's saying that Luca wants them to keep Austin Reeves. Look, if I'm the Lakers, I had to sit down with Luca and be like, "Do you want to win or not, man? Do you want to win?" Because I would have pulled my laptop and be like, "This is your buddy getting cooked on defense. There's a guarantee that's probably not going to change. You're like in your almost getting close to your 30s. You are who you are at this point. You are who you are. Give him credit. He done gotten better and better and better over the years. That defense part, it is what it is on that part at this point. At some point, you're going to have to cut your losses. And I would have to ask Luca, do you want to win or not win, man? You ain't getting any younger. You are not getting any younger. And I'm telling you, that tall man in San Antonio is coming.
He might
One of
be
those,
here already. We'll find out.
he,
We'll wait and see
he
this
might be
weekend.
here. And when the thing I would really tell him the most, I would really be concerned if I'm anybody else in the West right now. I get the feeling a dynasty is going to be formed between one of these two teams. Somebody going to start winning multiple championships. So, I mean, you want to start winning, you better start trying to do it now. Keep waiting around and you might not be seeing nothing. You got to make a decision. At least I can say this, if you were to try to trade Austin Reeves, at least you can get some good pieces, get some depth out of it. That's something I can definitely say. You can get some really good depth pieces.
If San Antonio wins a title this season without a power forward to speak of to help out Wemby, I think that tells you right there all you need to know about how good
Yep.
Wemby is, how good those guards are. But if they do not win and they go out and they get someone to help beef up the front line with Wembyama, that's going to be just, yeah, like you said, it's
Yeah.
going to be San Antonio and OKC for a long time to come if that's the case. And we'll have to wait and see what type of team that Rob builds. It looks like he's still there. He was in Chicago, like we mentioned, at the draft combine. But before we head on out, because again, you and I will be talking about your teams. Got a Golden State, Atlanta. We'll be talking about all the different teams in the NBA, what their needs are. I know that Caleb wants to go into detail about it. We're getting into the draft as well. Free agency is around the corner. It's still exciting times to go ahead and be a part of what we're doing here on this channel. But before we head on out, some of your takeaways from the draft combine, from the draft lottery, or from just where we're at as far as this initial stage. Now, we haven't gotten the full, that there's still which players, we still don't know which players are going to go ahead and decide they want to take the NIL money and go back because they found out exactly where they would be projected at in the NBA draft. But we're getting an idea on some. But your thoughts, my friend, on this week in Chicago, if you've been keeping an eye on it as well.
Yeah, I could definitely say this is a draft that got some pretty good talent in it, and a lot of teams really could fix a lot of the issues in this draft. I know we're in a day and age where NIL has became such a big deal now, and it's really huge and changed NCAA pretty much forever at this point. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of the kids do decide to go back because they're not losing anything. They go back; they're still making good money in the NIL, so they won't lose anything like you would in the past. I don't know if you noticed too, Gerald. A lot of kids do go back more and more often now since they're getting paid. College football, prime example. You see kids literally don't want to leave college, literally want to stay. Things don't change that much now. And I've seen a lot of pretty good talent. There's a lot of good guys out there to pick from, and I'm very curious to see what will happen with Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis through this draft. I get the feeling he's gonna be moved somehow through this draft. But there's a lot of good talent. This right here is night and day difference from that 24 draft. Well, sorry, number one pick.
Well, I'll tell you what, my friend, it's always great to hear your thoughts. Again, we will go more into the draft here in the coming weeks. Again, the Chicago Combine. Koa Pete, though, I think was a real loser out of all this because of didn't do well in the drills, didn't measure out the way that the people wanted to. There are some others as well, as far as some of the guards near the top of the draft didn't measure out with lengthwise as far as what the I guess the scouts had hoped that it would be, but there's some that were that did actually measure out and test well. I know that again that hurts the Lakers and it hurts teams like yours as well with Golden State and Atlanta because you're near the top at 8 and 11 with some picks. But when those guys do well, when the top guys, the Darius Acuffs or the Keaton Wagglers or some of the more attractive individuals do well, the Ademaras, as far as it's concerned, the fact that you might not be able to have a choice to get one of those more attractive prospects might be a little bit concerning for you. It is for me because anytime anyone does well in a NBA draft preview or workout, that means they're not going to be available at 25 for me. And that may not mean that and that may also mean that they may not be there for 8 at 11 for your teams as well.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's kind of bad about this too is a lot of the guys who are doing really well, we know they'll be going in like top 10, top 8, somewhere around that line. So you kind of picking over the ones who probably ain't doing so much. So at that point, you're just hoping that maybe what they did in their workout won't be what you'll see in their real career wise. That's what you'll be hoping. That what we just saw ain't something to worry about. But I bet Oklahoma gonna somehow pick something good in that 12 pick. I bet they gonna get it right.
They have two. Remember, they have two in the
Mm.
teens. So the rich get richer indeed. At least they didn't get so rich with that
Yeah.
one of those final picks from the SGA trade that they the Paul George trade, excuse me, that they got a high pick from it, but still they get a nice pick in the teens forward. But before we head on out, Legend, please let me know what you're up to at your great channel. I Got Next Sports Media.
I'm definitely looking at probably doing me a live stream tomorrow and just kind of talk about, a lot of the NBA news and talk about what's left for the playoffs and probably talk about the upcoming game that I'm going to for the Atlanta Dream. Going to the game this Sunday to watch them play against the Aces in State Farm Arena. So I will definitely be probably talk about that game a little bit. Get ready to watch my hometown grown Alicia Gray play. And we'll get ready to see what Atlanta can keep this winning streak alive. But other than that, definitely gonna hop back on probably tomorrow. I took at least a little bit of a break while I'm dealing with my nerve pain and stuff. But I'll be on tomorrow.
All right. Well, looking forward to it. Please go ahead and make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead, like and subscribe today to my good friend Legend at I Got Next Sports Media. I Got Next Sports Media does a great job of going ahead and covering the world of sports, as only Legend can do it right there for you at I Got Next Sports Media, indeed. But Legend, I was appreciate you stopping by. I do appreciate you stopping by as always. But any last thoughts on the NBA before we head into a weekend with some interesting games on tap this weekend before we head on out?
I will definitely say Detroit Pistons, you might have messed up. I'm definitely saying you might have just lost this series at this point. If Cleveland go closed out at home. And I would definitely say we'll really, if the Spurs can close out Minnesota, we might be getting one of the best playoff games this entire playoff. Oklahoma versus Spurs. That might be must watch TV the entire series. I think that's gonna determine who the champion gonna be. I really think that's gonna determine. Even though I think the Knicks is gonna come out in the East, I don't trust the Knicks to win the championship. So I really think whoever wins between OKC and Spurs will probably be the NBA champion. So everyone definitely get ready to watch a really good Western Conference final. I think that's gonna be a long series. That might be 6 or 7.
Can't wait for that one, my friend. As a basketball fan, indeed, I agree with you on that. And you know, you and I both will hopefully be talking about that on an upcoming NBA observations. But it is Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. Please go ahead and check out what he's doing today at I Got Next Sports Media. Well, I appreciate it, Legend. I know you and I will be back, whether it's on a
Yep.
live show or NBA observations. I'm looking forward to it here in the coming days and weeks to come. Looking forward to what you bring each and every time out right here for some great NBA observations.